I'm very happy meeting with you all.
Hello, everyone, and Tashi Delek. It's been the honor of a lifetime to serve as U.S. Undersecretary of State for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights. Since 2021, I've had the unique honor of serving as U.S. Special Coordinator for Tibetan Issues. Since 2021, in visits to over 60 countries, from Central America to Central Asia and coastal West Africa to the Indo-Pacific, I have been heartened to deepen partnerships with governments, civil society, multilateral and private sector leaders to promote a more just, secure, and prosperous world. Together, we accomplished a lot these past 4 years to advance more innovative, impactful, and inclusive policy approaches. Today, U.S. and international community support for Tibetans is more important than ever. And looking back over the last 4 years, we've accomplished a great deal together. First, we advanced the human rights of Tibetans and held those abusing their rights accountable. Human rights abuses in Tibet and the targeting of Tibetans globally are well documented and unabating, from arbitrary detention and draconian surveillance to a systematic sinicization campaign aimed at erasing Tibetan language, culture, and religious practices. In response, the United States took decisive and unprecedented steps to promote accountability, including, in December 2022, the first ever Tibet-related global Magnitsky sanctions against PRC officials for their complicity in and responsibility for serious human rights abuses perpetrated in the Tibet Autonomous Region. We imposed visa restrictions on PRC authorities substantially involved in restricting access to Tibetan areas and the repression of religious and ethnic minority communities. For the first time, we also imposed restrictions on PRC officials involved in the forcible assimilation of more than 1 million Tibetan children in government-run boarding schools. In addition, we took accountability efforts to the multilateral stage, working closely with allies and partners to shine a light on continued abuses. During the PRC's most recent Universal Periodic Review at the UN Human Rights Council in January 2024, more than 20 countries raised concerns regarding PRC policies in Tibet, more than double the number at the PRC's previous UPR. This is a clear sign of growing concern among the international community collectively regarding the PRC's ongoing human rights abuses in Tibet. Second, we supported the Tibetan community's preservation of their distinct religious, cultural, and linguistic identity, including in partnership with USAID by providing $82 million in programming. His Holiness is a tireless advocate for the preservation of Tibetan language and culture, which was clear during my 3 audiences with him since 2022. Cultural preservation is ever more important in the face of the Chinese Communist Party's unrelenting efforts to distort Tibetans' rich history, religious institutions, and traditions. This is manifested through forced relocation, loyalty pledges to the PRC, co-optation of the traditional succession processes, disinformation and distortion of Tibetan history, and restrictions on religious practices central to Tibetan culture and identity. Third, and finally, we continued to prioritize the humanitarian needs of Tibetans, including Tibetan diaspora communities. Through sustained U.S. assistance, we are supporting programs to help meet Tibetan refugees' basic humanitarian needs, including health, education, water, sanitation and hygiene, and protection. In addition, the United States supports programs that enhance educational, health, and economic opportunities for Tibetans and strengthens the capabilities of Tibetan institutions in South Asia. Despite these accomplishments, it has been 14 years since the last round of dialogues between the PRC government and the Dalai Lama and his representatives. We maintain that a negotiated agreement is the best hope for long-term stability in the region, and we continue to urge the PRC to resume dialogue with His Holiness the Dalai Lama or his representatives without preconditions. In closing, it has been the privilege of a lifetime to work on these challenges with the Tibetan community and our international partners. But until meaningful autonomy is reached, until Tibetans everywhere are free to exercise their fundamental freedoms, until Tibetans can practice their faith, language, and traditions freely, our work together remains unfinished. We will continue to strive for a better future for Tibetans and for all.
Then third, preservation of our own community.
It is my great honor to have this audience with you. I am President Biden's special coordinator for Tibetan issues, and it is my greatest honor to be able to be received by you. I bring greetings from our president and from the American people, and the best wishes for your good health and our gratitude for your message of peace for the world.
America, great nation, and democracy,
Yes,
completely freedom,
yes.
quite clear. Change Tibetan mind, completely failed by Chinese communists. Meanwhile, China themselves, without thinking, rapidly changing. Now, socialism, Marxism, gone.